The Twins lose again late with their top relievers on the mound, but Rocco says the Royals rally doesn't happen without two bad calls from the umpires. Let's all see about it right now after we get Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily. I lost my place. I still gotta keep going. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to destination for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. I'm one of your hosts, David Brown, a ball writer since 1998, a BBWA member since 2012, and a Hall of Fame voter since this year. Please follow me on Twitter at @AnswerDaveBrown if you like. Across from me in cyberspace is Brandon Warren, a Twins watcher for 30 years who not long ago covered the team on a daily basis professionally. He asks that you discuss things with him soon on Twitter at Brandon_Warren. In this podcast, we will look at a crushing defeat for the Twins in Game 2 of a 3-game set at Kauffman Stadium, a 4-2 come-from-ahead loss, where Kansas City put up 4 runs in the 8th against Minnesota's bullpen after the Twins took out Bailey Ober, who had retired 15 batters straight and was pitching a one-hitter through 7. Before we do the deed, Brandon, what fine sponsor is bringing us this podcast?
Well, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code LockedOnMLB in all lowercase to win $50 instantly when you play $5. By the way, you can catch every pitch of the Twins' hometown broadcast with Chris Atterbury and Glenn Perkins on SiriusXM. Boy, does that sound like a threat after tonight's game. But download the SXM app, search Twins. And in the finale, the series finale, it'll be Simeon Woods Richardson taking on Michael Wacha. First pitch, Waka Waka, 1:10 p.m. Central Time at the Big K.
Yet another must-win for the Twins. As you can see, I'm at Kauffman Stadium, so I got a chance to see it all happen in person. And boy, I didn't want to go into the clubhouse after the game. But the Twins, while they were unhappy about the loss, were philosophical or scientific or mathematical or something about it. And tomorrow's another day. And Royce Lewis was even kind of hysterically optimistic about things. Everything's going to be okay. It's just, everything just around the corner. Everything's going to be right for the Twins again. According to Royce, it was sort of classic Royce optimism. And we'll hear from him in a little bit. So the Twins fall to 76 and 66 after dropping a frustrating 4-2 to the Royals. Duran and Jax weren't at their best in the 8th, but there was a play during the Royals rally that turned everything to heck. With 1 out, and the Twins still leading 2-1, Tommy Pham hit a chopper between third base and shortstop. Duran Blanco kind of didn't let Lewis field the ball. Lewis is entitled to a path to the ball, and he very clearly stopped trying to avoid a collision. And instead, Brooks Lee tried to make an off-balance throw from shortstop, and it was errant for an error, so it was an infield single and a throwing error. But umpires did not give Rocco any satisfaction. He went out to argue the case, but it did appear that it should have been. I think it's obstruction when a base runner does it, and not interference. And also another thing, Tommy Pham turned towards second on the play, and the Farmer, I think it was Farmer at first base, tagged him out, but the umpires didn't see that either. So there should have been at least 1 out. I don't think they could have gotten a double play on it, but because I think the play would have been dead as soon as Royce Lewis was obstructed from making it. So Rocco's pretty 99% sure that the Twins got hosed twice. So that's sort of, for him anyway, and maybe it was a little convenient, overshadowed the taking out of Bailey Ober after about 83 pitches, I think, and 7 one-hit innings, just beautiful performance against the Royals after coming in. I think he had allowed 32 earned runs in his past 37 in the third innings against Kansas City, and it's even worse at Kauffman Stadium. But I don't know if there was a dude hiding in the fountains, but he wasn't here tonight. There was nobody like relaying signs or anything like that. Ober was that was his best game as a Twins pitcher, I'm pretty sure. So He's got the team's complete game. He didn't get one today. Rocco says, we can usually trust Duran and Jax to hold those leads, and it's true. They're, I think, 58-3 coming in when leading after 7. And we remember that game against the Cardinals where they lost for the first time in the 9th inning all season after leading. So not a good time for these records to be evening out, Brandon. It's a tough one for the Twins, but they didn't score enough runs. They gave up too many. They didn't make the plays. They didn't catch any breaks. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, it was a great night. Yeah,
you make your own luck in this game, and it was Bailey Ober's. Bailey Ober was Taylor's version coming into this game, and let me explain. He had a 1989 ERA coming into this outing against the Royals this year, and spun a gem. And I can see it both ways. Like, yeah, give Bailey the start of the inning, and at the same time, they don't like to give guys not clean innings, which is all the more reason why it was surprising to see Jax come in the way he did. When you're dealing or when you're cruising until you're not. And in fact, esteemed guest of the program, Greg Masterson, pointed out that in San Diego, Bailey Ober had earned, it was either the 7th or 8th inning, and then gave up the lead right away or gave it up. You employ Griffin Jax and Jawan Duran because you trust them to do their jobs. And if you go with Bailey Ober and he gives up 1 run, 2 run, red run, blue run, you say, well, then what do you got these bullpen guys for? And so it's easy to second guess. I'm on the side of like, I think there were so many things that went wrong in tonight's game that it would be impossible to pinpoint which one was the most pivotal. Brooks Lee needs to not throw that ball. Kyle Farmer needs to get in front of and stop that ball. The fact that he didn't even get a glove on it, let alone anything. Carlos Santana catches that in his sleep and yet left the game due to illness. They're a team that doesn't really have a backup first baseman. And, Jose Miranda was in the lineup as DH, if I'm not mistaken. So you're not bringing him off the bench to play first base. And so there's complicating factors across the board. But the play that I want to hone in on, can we do that quickly here?
Sure. Which play?
Well, when Kyle Esbell to left and Freddie Fermin scored. Now, I don't know how fast Freddie Fermin is for a catcher. But with that said,
I think the answer is not that.
The whole defense got caught flat-footed, and that is when I tweeted that this team misses Carlos Correa so damn much because Correa is directing traffic, calling everything out. We saw Bobby Witt Jr. throw a runner out at the plate in the opener of the series, and that's what initially was like, man, Correa is the kind of shortstop that makes that play, and the Twins have not been privy to him being on the field, although Ken Rosenthal did say during the game that they think he's getting closer to returning and will be before the season is out. But then, Brooks Lee and, it's a rookie in left, it's a rookie at short, and they basically let Fermin score on what should have been. I mean, based on where I saw everybody, if that's a properly lined up play, Fermin is out by 10, 15 feet, right? And so
I think where it went wrong was Hellman blew it. He wasn't aggressive in getting the ball. He threw to the wrong base. He didn't throw with enough strength. He didn't throw with enough quickness. The third base coach of the Royals sees all this happening, and that's why Fermin was sent. So if Fermin doesn't score if Hellman hurries is behind up and gets to throw it. There was so much that happened in that inning. We didn't get a chance to really talk to Rocco specifically
about that play. Here?
Yeah.
Michael Hellman has played 4 innings in left field, 4 games, 34 innings in left field this season. And in the outfield total this season at St. Paul, I'm doing just a little bit of math here. Looks like, 21 plus 3, 24 games and a grand total of about 170 innings. He's played a lot more shortstop and shortstop and third base. He's played some center, but left field, he's barely played left field this year. He's played, like I said, 4 games, 34 innings. I don't know if that plays into it. They've been playing it weird with left field for quite a while between him and Austin Martin. Trevor Larnach has been, I think, respectable out there. And the fact that they're playing without Max Kepler has them thin in the corners a little bit. But I don't know how much that is a factor that Hellman has not played that much left. Not only not in the major leagues because he's only been up for a few days, but this year on the whole, he just has not played that much left.
And that was a defensive replacement for Larnach. Larnach started the game in left field, and Hellman was specifically put out there late.
Yeah.
So that's as I think about it even more, it's a questionable decision. Hey, we do have some relevant audio or video from Rocco talking about the play, and now would be the time, even though we're close on our break. But can we play it?
Yeah, sure. So to set this up, you said that Rocco, you are in, as people can see if they're watching on YouTube, you are in Kansas City at the Big K. So you are privy to Rocco, and let's hit play.
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure that Royce had to move out of the way of the runner, and the runner did not cede to Royce, I don't think, in any way. If Royce goes after the ball, there's probably a major collision on the field, and Royce has to be able to make that play. So I think the umpires did not get that right, and that's the game. Like, that is the difference in a 2-run game. The call not being made on the field, what I think is the proper call, was not made. I want to see the replay again so I can be positive about the way I feel about it, but that's the game. The whole game was decided on that play in a lot of ways, or a huge portion of the game was decided on that play, and I think we caught the brunt end of the stick and a bad call.
What did they say to you?
Just that they didn't see it as the runner getting in the way of Royce. That's it. That's really it. I mean, there's not much more of an explanation besides that.
Not to
it cannot be reviewed. They couldn't ask for a review on that.
And not to jump in overly quickly, I apologize for that, but that's about as animated as Rocco gets on something like that. He's not a fiery guy to his own peril, if you ask the wrong people.
I was wondering, I saw Patrick Royce tweet, well, I wonder if Rocco is going to admit that he screwed up this time because he took Ober out after retiring 15 straight. And, Rocco did not get very forceful or animated about that. He's like, well, Jackson Duran didn't do their jobs basically, and this stupid play happened. So that's why we lost. So, he wasn't feeling any remorse about changing pitchers at that point or how that went down. So,
yeah, not too defensive.
He wasn't. I mean, maybe he was defensive in his lack of defensiveness. He's like, nope, that's not, I think I know what he was doing. I think Rocco was saving Ober's bullet, and I hate that phrase, but he was. They tried to put Louis Varland in the rotation, and it didn't work. He's going to have to be in the bullpen. They don't have a starter, an extra starter to get it to buffer the other guys, to give the players an extra day off in between starts anymore. So they have to rely on their off days or whatever. So I think that if Varland was still in the rotation, I think Ober's still pitching in that inning anyway. So that's what Rocco's doing.
Can we table that? Because I've got a thought when we come back from break.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, let's hit our first break. When we come back, I've got a Bailey Ober take that may or may not make people happy. Probably not. But it does make people happy is getting money back. And if you're rocking with Ibotta, then that's right up your alley. You maybe have come off a vacation and you're looking to maybe recoup some of your money, or maybe as the summer winds down, you're still looking. Like, we're hosting a party on Friday for my daughter. They're going to tie-dye. They're going to sit in the hot tub and watch a movie on the big screen. We are going to need to, save a little money on some food there. We're doing walk-in tacos. You ever had one of those before, Dave?
Oh, yeah. I remember walk-in tacos were a a big deal at like not halftime, but in between double headers at softball. Like one of the moms would make them, and they'd let me have one. It was great.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to go gear up at the grocery store. So Ibotta comes into play. It's a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. Earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies to even toys. So you can make sure you are beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. And the average Ibotta customer earns keyword earns $256 per year. That's cold hard cash back in your pocket, whether you want to use it for more shopping or if you want to take a flight somewhere or even just take your better half out to a fancy dinner. Excuse me. Other apps will give you points. They don't really amount to much. This is stone cold cash that you can withdraw to your bank account, PayPal, gift cards. You got lots of options here. You just add the offers in the app and then scan your receipt and you're good to go. Now, if you are looking to join right now is a good time because Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying it by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. So go to the App Store or Google Play and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use the code LOCKEDONMLB. So Bailey Ober, somebody posted on Twitter, and this is a good way to put it. I had thought of it this way, but not really like articulated it. The Twins are going to make the playoffs for all intents and purposes. Like things could go very wrong, and basically they would have to go 5-15 to not 15-5 to get past the Guardians and win the division. And anything in the middle is, you made the wild card. So unnecessarily pushing Bailey Ober when you have your two best relievers available, I don't know. I mean, like you said, you don't like the phrase saving bullets, but keeping Ober as quote unquote fresh as possible for the postseason and using your two best relievers, like it's not as dumb as people are making it sound online right now. Like it's a pretty sound logic-based decision, even though Ober was cruising and had only thrown 83 pitches. Like there is more wisdom to it than what people are giving credit for.
I think it's worth the discussion, and I think it is. I don't know.
A discussion between you and me. A discussion between you and me, or Mackie and him.
All of the above.
Yeah.
All of the above. I think it's worth. I don't think it would have been the wrong decision to leave him out there to start the inning to see, and then if he gets into trouble, but he was cruising, and the Duran has not been. You see, one of the funny things is Rocco said he liked the matchups with Jax, and that's why Jax went out in the 8th inning. I wonder if he's.
You mean Duran?
Yeah. No, yeah. But I mean, he liked the matchups with Duran going first as opposed to Jax going first.
Yes.
So that could be. I didn't look closely at their styles and their pitches, and I don't know that the Royals have one of those lineups though where you go, oh yeah, we really need to be super fine with this pitcher or whatever. They just kind of have some hackers up there,
outside of Witt,
right?
And
Sal
and Salvi. Sometimes
he's unconventional.
Sometimes you throw him 3 sliders off the plate and he does the Tim Anderson bit.
Right. He's sort of like Ozzie Guillen was when he was a player. He's a good bad ball hitter, which is a nice way of saying that he'll swing at anything. Although he's been better at drawing walks this year. It's been good for Sal. It was also Sal's bobblehead night. So it was like oversized Sal Perez bobblehead night. So I was waiting for Bailey Ober Bailey Ober hit him with a pitch early in the game and Sal didn't like it. And
he was pretty heated.
Did not have, he was like, is he going to charge Bailey Ober on his own oversized bobblehead night? It would have been a disaster for PR, but I thought maybe he was going to do it.
Not only that, but do you know who I am? The audacity of you to hit me with a pitch on my bobblehead night.
There was a little bit of that. Didn't get a chance to ask Ober about that. It was. He said the most interesting thing that we asked Ober was, or that he said about his performance was, he kind of tried to do things a little bit different with his pregame routine. he's listening to some college football. He didn't specify what on his headphones. And as he was getting in his headspace for the game, because he knew he was totally aware of his results against the Royals, and he said he was disappointed that he had a start washed out against the Royals. He was looking forward to seeing them earlier in the season, but he didn't get a chance to kind of avenge his recent bad results against them. So, Ober isn't what he didn't complain, about being taken out. I don't think that's his style. I get the feeling. It's certainly a questionable decision by Rocco.
Yes.
What made them lose the game? Not great performance by the relievers in the 8th inning. Bad defense by the Royals. Very questionable umpiring. I think it all contributed. It's just it's not what anybody wants to hear when the Twins have lost so many. I don't know what their streak is lately. They've only lost 2 in a row, but you know what I mean. They were knocking on 20 games over 500, and now they're barely 10.
Hear me out though. Like, this just feels like the Rangers last year.
A little.
It just does. Like, if they get into, I want to see, for a lot of reasons, I want to see this. The Twins squeak into the playoffs, turn it around, win the World Series, and the people who are so convinced that you have to have 3 aces and everybody healthy to win in October, when we've seen in recent seasons you don't even need that. How much did Jacob deGrom help the Rangers last year? How much did Max Scherzer help the Rangers to get to and win the World Series last year? That based on compared to what you would have expected. Sometimes it's better to be lucky and or hot than it is good. I guess that applies in more than just baseball.
Well, Mr. Segway, why don't you play the video from Royce Lewis, because he might echo your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I kind of stole my thoughts from Royce Lewis, but
You stole them.
Let's talk to Sir You Rake.
What's this last couple of weeks been like? Just had a bunch of losses like this, where one inning kind of does one in. How are you guys absorbing that, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, the positive, I think, is that we're going to get hot at the right time. We have the league right where we want them. So we're in a good spot. I mean, it's pretty crappy. It's not fun. It's not what you want. You want to win, of course, every game, but it's just not realistic, and we're kind of in the lull of a downward trend the year, but hopefully that ends and we start an upward trend. And like I said, we're going to get hot at the right time, and all it takes is getting in when you're hot. And so we really shock the league. I think people will be surprised. We're going to get some guys back here soon. I'm really looking forward to it. I think we're in a good spot.
Does that confidence come from just knowing you might get some guys back, or what kind of leads you to all that confidence?
No, just knowing the team we have. I think we have a great team here, and I know that one inning like this that doesn't define us as a team. I think that it's just an off night for our pitchers at the end of the day there. I still have 100% confidence in them. I think they still pitched really good, to be honest with you. It was all like little bloop singles, and they just played really well tonight, and they made a good effort to get the win.
I tell you what, Royce Lewis might have been on the Titanic, and I think they deleted his scene because he's like, "Oh, Jack's going to be able to hold on to that board. You know what? You guys are going to live together forever. There's no problem here whatsoever. Let's go. Let's get in the water."
84 years from now, you're going to be buried next to each other because you'll have died side by side in a nursing home or some goofy thing like that.
Absolutely.
Hey, can I guess who asked those 2 questions?
Well, I thought you could hear, but go ahead.
Well, so Dan Hayes the first one?
Dan Hayes, yeah.
And then Betsy Helfand?
Yes, Betsy Helfand. Yes.
I nailed it. I haven't seen those people in so long. Actually, Dan signed a scorecard for me at the K in 2019. He goes, "All the best," like just being an idiot. And I still have it somewhere in my headphone case all these years later. And I break it out every now and then when I'm looking to laugh.
Was that his own? Did he sign it because he doesn't usually sign autographs, and it's funny to get a Dan Hayes autograph?
Must have been, yeah, Mr.
Okay.
Athletic. But anyway, yeah, it's amazing how enthusiastic Royce is at all times. And the funny thing is, I believe him.
We've got the league right where we want them. Obviously. Oh, no kidding. So it's I almost cracked up. I was like, Royce, you didn't just say that.
I say that in
it's,
softball when some of our worst players swing and miss. I'm like, you got them right where you want them.
right. Well, there's nothing wrong. I mean, people have enough. I see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
People have enough negative thoughts in their head in baseball. You know, you make an out or whatever, you get tough on yourself. You feel like you're letting everybody down. Well, what about some positivity? Why not? We have time later to lament what didn't happen. Why, if it ain't over yet, why act like it's over?
Yeah. Hey, let's take our last break quick. And then I got a quick excerpt from something else that is worth talking about. Okay.
Okay.
So here we go. By now, you know we're rocking with PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. And what a great time to get into PrizePicks. I mean, the big NFL launch has been the latter part of this week, but everyone else is playing on Sunday. So if you're listening to this right when it comes out, we've got some football coming our way very soon. And PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports because it's just you and the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. And you play the multipliers. You play, risky bets for higher multipliers or a little less risky and bring down the odds a little bit. But you can mix and match a lot. And if you really want to go full throttle, full tilt, you can win up to 100 times your money with as few as 4 correct picks. That's turning $1 into $100, $10 into $1,000. I mean, the math adds up. Trust me, I've done the math to figure it out. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKDOWNMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKDOWNMLB on PrizePicks, and you'll get a deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, run your game. Dave, the St. Paul Saints won 8-6, and Emmanuel Rodriguez hit an inside the park grand slam.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So, our good friend Theo Tollefson was there talking about it. He said it was pretty exciting. And, so I just thought I'd share that. I haven't gone back and watched it yet. He was there and, cause they're at home. And so
he didn't slide headfirst in the home, did he?
I don't think so. I hope not.
That's what we don't want. That's the only thing about it that would worry me.
I saw somebody on Twins Daily, right? Like, what if they just bring him up? I mean, he's on the 40-man roster. I mean, it's not like he's Juan Soto where he's going to come up and hit the ground running at 19 or whatever, but he's a big prospect. He has a big league skill set. Who knows? Maybe you get lightning in a bottle. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not even saying it's likely, but
well, they finally did bring up Deshaun Kelsey at 27 years old. He's had a couple of good. He ran into I think he was hit hard by the COVID year or years. Yep. Where he didn't get a chance to play every day, and that kind of got him off track a little bit. So
he was pretty raw.
A little late.
He was pretty raw to begin with.
He was. He started out good, and then kind of, I think that those were years where he probably needed more instruction by a lot than he was getting. So that probably. Yep. I'm glad it hasn't ruined his at least track to the majors. So
have I ever told you my Juwan Duran COVID story? So Lane Adams was there. Lane Adams was famous for being, I think he might have been the outfielder that held Ronald Acuna's spot until Acuna came up, or I don't know. Anyway, he was on the COVID Twins at the AAA camp, and he fed me some info, which is great. I don't think I'm betraying his confidence. He's no longer in the big leagues or in the professional ranks, but he's just like, man, you're not going to believe Alex Kirilloff, how good he is, and all this. And he goes, now looking back on it, that year for Juwan Duran to just dick around with a splinker and not have to have any results to worry about, he just threw the crap out of that splinker all summer long and perfected it without having to worry about it getting hit, throwing it for strikes. And I thought, you know what? I would have never it would not have occurred to me that would have been what happened. So that to me was a kind of a fun little inside baseball reference that a real good dude fed to me that I thought, you know what? This is worth sharing. And you know what? Can I tell a funny joke? Because Denard Span.
Well, I'll let you know if it's funny.
Okay. So Denard Span is on the radio broadcast right now. And my favorite story Tim Laudner told me was back in the Metrodome days. So Denard Span is in batting practice and he's doing his bunting and whatever. And Delman Young comes over and he says, why are you working on that bunting? You never bunt in a game. And Denard pops back. Why do you work on hitting homers in batting practice? You never do that in the game either.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that amazing? Like just
That's
like how
what a
is that
comeback.
come up?
Yeah,
One of my all-time
Delman probably deserved many more comebacks than that. He didn't strike me as a nice person.
he
I'm
only
glad
would talk
Denard got him over him.
He would only talk to one media member in Minnesota, and I don't know if you'll remember him, but Joe Christensen.
Yeah,
Good old
I
love
like
Joe.
Joe.
Tremendous guy. That was the only guy he'd talk to.
I wouldn't, I don't hold that necessarily against people because, there were some incidences and things where the story wasn't told really in a nice way about Delman. But I'm just telling you from what I saw, he's kind of a jerk. So I think both things can be true.
Yep. Sorry to waylay the last segment here, but I don't know how much longer I can. I've already moved on from this loss, if I'm honest with you. I saw it.
Oh, you and the Twins both. I think it's they were quiet after the game. I don't know if this is good necessarily, but I think part of their lack of discomfort comes from the fact that they have a lead in this wild card and things would really have to go south and someone else would have to get hot for them to miss the playoffs at this point. It would be nice if the Twins, had won the division. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. And have some home playoff games. At least not the first round is going to happen. But, Ober and Pablo, and then maybe you roll the dice with Festa in the postseason, or you get lucky in a bullpen game and you move on to the second round and you go from there. I think Royce is, while he's just being optimistic to be optimistic, maybe he has a point. I don't know. But we're running out of time for this episode. So I think, do we have to say anything about Paul Sullivan?
Let's just give Sully some love for Locked On MLB. We're your first listen every day, but Sully should be your second listen on Locked On MLB. His name is Paul Sullivan, but we call him Sully. We love him because he's hilarious, and he wants to get you ready for the MLB playoffs here in the dog days of summer. So get ready for the Fall Classic with Sully. Find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, because it's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day.
Every day. So for Brandon Warren, this is Dave Brown reporting live on tape from Kauffman Stadium. Not that kind of cough, but different kind of cough. Saying we will see
tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Good night.
All right. Stay classy.